Prepare yourselves. Entertaining and somewhat informative hour of MMA Talk Radio. Brought to you by the Man of Steel.
The Joe Show.
What's up, Joe Show?
What's up, man? How you been, brother? I know you've been busy. Mr. Hollywood, Mr. Hollywood over here.
Yeah, I'm getting that a lot, man. What, I can't do cool things?
Yeah. Hey, man, I've been telling you a long time. I was like, man, get on that acting, getting on that acting gig. You got such a pretty face, like a supermodel.
I think I play a pretty good heel or bad guy in there. So, yeah, it's a good part for me.
That's cool, man. So, how much can you tell me about this? All we've seen is just stuff on, a little bit of posts on Facebook and Instagram. So, break it down, homie.
So basically, what we recorded was a pitch. It was basically a pilot for a Netflix series, and Netflix is desperate, looking for content, and I'm good friends with Matt JC, the director, and he was looking for some people to get in on it, and I was like, yeah, I'm totally in. So without saying too much about the storyline, I basically play a marshal, or a basically government official there to basically enforce martial law, and I end up being the bad guy in the story because the good guys are trying to live, and I'm trying to control them, and so I play a really cool part where I get to torture some guys, I kill a guy, and then there's a really epic battle at the end. So yeah, if you watch it, you'll probably, if you don't know me, you'll probably hate me because I play a pretty damn good bad guy.
I bet you do, my man. Hey, how exciting, man. I started seeing the stuff on Facebook and the photos, and man, it looked cool. You're standing there with like an AR-15 and you're all bloodied up and stuff like that. I guess it's an AR-15. I don't know guns that well, but
yeah, that was fun as shit, man. I got to chase a side by side and on a quad, like fucking. And I had my buddy on the back of the quad with the AR right over my shoulder, just chasing him.
Oh man, fucking Tom Cruise over here doing his own stunts.
Yeah, like I said, I'll make Tom Cruise my bitch. Put me in a movie with him. He'll probably act way better than me, but I'll win in the fight scenes.
Tom Cruise kick your ass, homeboy. I've seen his movies. He knows all that shit. Krav Maga. Come at me, bro. Tom Cruise, if you're listening, which I know you are. I know Tom Cruise is a big fan of our show.
Yeah, he's been watching for a while, right?
That's right. So, man, that is super exciting. And so you said the producer is Matthew JC?
Yeah, the director and producer is Matt JC.
Is that the guy from the band that had the band?
Yeah, he had the JC All Stars back in the day. He's been doing Operation Rock for the Troops. Traveled all across the world. Gone to several army bases or military bases, and basically performed for the troops. Kind of their mission is like music is therapy, and healing through therapy and keeping people motivated.
Absolutely, my man. Music is therapeutic. You and I, we're both music guys, and we jam out all the time. So it makes you feel some type of way. So that's really cool, man, that you're getting this opportunity. It's like Dana White says, the UFC is an opportunity, and it opens doors.
Oh, no doubt, man. No doubt, it's opening doors, and vice versa. I feel like if I expand my resume and do other things, then I'll be worth more to the UFC as well. So I think it's a win-win all around. It's keeping me motivated and busy while I'm over here waiting for a fight. Speaking of which, I still plan on fighting by the end of the year. I'm hoping for November, and everything's happening real quick in the UFC. And I mean, I could get a fight in a week's notice in Vegas. So there's no telling when I can get my next fight.
Man, I want to see you fly. We've been to Vegas. I want to see you go across the pond over to the desert and get some some fights over there. That 14-hour flight to Dubai.
Yeah, and it's a shame that I'm boycotting Texas because they just allowed Texas, to have MMA with fans. So that's big news for Fury FC, XKO, LFA, potentially UFC coming to Texas because the fact they allow fans. They're talking about McGregor, Poirier being at AT&T Stadium.
Really?
So these can be some big opportunities, but like I said, I won't be fighting in Texas unless something changes. Kansas has fights with no crowd, but they have open scoring, and at the end of each round, you get your official score on the board. So if you're up 10-9 or if you're up 2 rounds to 1, there's no guessing game. So
Right.
if they were to adopt something like that into Texas, that would change everything because then the fans would know immediately, the fighters would know immediately, and I think it leaves less room for any sort of foul play or error because you have to put up the score immediately to the crowd, the fans, and people are going to look at you sideways like, how did you score that first round like that? Like immediately. So it won't be after the fact when the fight's over and less emotions involved.
So you think it's a Texas? You think it's a Texas thing? Because we've both seen it. We go to a lot of fights. You fought a lot of times, and you fought a couple times in Texas. Even us going to UFCs, we've seen some upside down scores. So how do you know when it actually changes? Is it? I mean, do you see the same thing happening in Vegas or wherever they fight, or if they're in Dubai or wherever they're fighting? Are you seeing the same upside down scores and bad decisions as you see in Texas?
Yeah, it's bad across the board, but I've had my experiences with the Texas judging and just the fact that somebody can judge a fight that's only judged 3 fights in their life and never done the sport, and they're judging a UFC fight. Um, it makes no sense. You should have some sort of criteria to become a judge. It shouldn't just be you fill out an application and you're a judge. It should be you have martial arts experience, you have boxing experience, um, coaching experience, and
Right.
experience in the sport, so you actually know what you're looking at.
Right, and most of Texas, a lot of the Texas judges were just straight up boxing judges in the past. I thought about after we had talked to Seth Ford that day, and even talking to a couple other judges that we know. Um, I thought about it. I was like, man, I don't want that. I don't want that job because I don't want to be the judge to get it wrong and ruin this guy's career. That's what made me kind of second thought. Like, man, that's a real serious job, and you can't be wrong and risk a career like like your career or another fighter's just because you don't know what you're seeing and what you're scoring. So, these guys got to step it up.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. I mean, I have 5 losses on my career that I don't agree with. So, um, say I'm right about half of those. That's 2, 3 fights that should have gone the other way. It's also money out of my pocket. That's future money out of my pocket. Plus, it's a
Losing
L on my career. So, yeah,
and
it's not good.
yeah, and you don't want to lose your job either.
Exactly. You could lose. I could have lost my job after that fight to Alex Caceres, and I was confident I won that fight. I was like, "There's no way they're going to take this one from me." And then that one, the female judge scored it 30-27 towards him, and I was like, "How the fuck do you see that?" Like 29-28, maybe arguably, but in my mind, I won the first and third round without a doubt. Sure, I was bleeding, but what the fuck's a little blood? Um,
Yeah, I mean, you're notorious. I mean, you bleed.
so,
You got
so,
some scar tissue.
I did this amateur tournament. I coached some guys in this. It was a
Muay Thai.
point-based Muay Thai system, and they did a martial arts point base because if you do 10-9 must system, and you sanction the bout, then it has to go through the athletic commission to the boxing commission. So
Oh,
it was basically a martial arts competition. We set it in its own category. So it was like every leg kick is 2 points, every punch to the face is a point. Knees were 3 points, a head kick is 4 points, kicks to the body is 3 points, and that was some sort of like tangible or legitimate scoring system. Because then at the end, instead of having a 10-9 where, oh, I think this guy won and this guy lost, it was like 35-43 at the end of the round. And then the next round, and then you add the scores up. Each round, you can do it total score or you could do it round by round. But either way, it's a legitimate scoring system. And I've proposed this on our show in the past. Uh,
yep.
and it worked out really well because there was much less question about who won. I mean, some fights were close and the points showed close, but wasn't just opinion on I think this guy won. It's
Right.
I feel like this guy landed this many shots, so it scores this many points.
Right. I mean, that totally makes sense because if you're scoring a 10-point must system, it's kind of the guy you think won. Like you're not counting strike for strike,
Yeah,
takedown.
exactly.
Right.
And they say like, oh, you can't count all the strikes and the takedowns and blah blah blah. But how do they do it in karate? How do they do it in this point system that we just used? They do it in taekwondo. They do it in wrestling. They do it in jujitsu. Just
Right.
add all of those scoring systems into one. Just make it one straight, scoring system. And a takedown, you score 2 points.
It's going
That's
to
the
take
guard, scores.
it's going to take some skilled judges that
Judges with martial arts experience.
and jiu-jitsu experience, wrestling experience, what you said is a martial arts. All of it's martial arts, but they're going to have to be very well versed at all those aspects of fighting.
Or
And
just get
striking.
some MMA, retired MMA fighters. There's plenty of retired MMA fighters that people joke and talk shit like, oh, they're all brain damaged and blah blah blah. Sure, there's some people that have some issues, but there's tons and tons of retired MMA fighters that I know personally that
Yeah.
they would be perfect for the job.
Yeah. I mean, Chuck Liddell would be a good judge.
Sean Spencer,
Sean Spencer would be great. I mean, all those guys.
Bird.
Charlie Bird. That'd be a good gig for Chuck. I could see Charles Bird as a referee.
Yeah, oh no doubt. Yeah, he can definitely command the octagon for sure.
He wouldn't even have to say anything. He'd just look at him, and they would let go of the cage.
Yeah,
He'd give them the stink eye, and they'd let go of the cage.
no doubt.
Yeah.
So, what fight are you looking forward to most coming up this week?
Man, I'm pretty excited. I didn't think I would be about the Gaethje and Khabib fight. I didn't think I would be that excited about it. But the closer it draws, I'm like, man, I'm actually pretty pumped about this fight. Khabib does what Khabib does, throws a few shots, goes for the takedown, and wrestles the hell out of everybody, and then beats them up. I don't know how this fight's going to go. That's what's so exciting about it. I'm pulling for Gaethje. I like the American fighters. Not a huge fan of Khabib, anyways. So I'm pulling for. I'm excited about that fight. Let's just say that.
I'm super excited about that fight. Yeah, it's a great matchup. I think it's going to go it'd be a lot more exciting than if it was Tony Ferguson. I think Tony Ferguson would have got taken down, maybe thrown some elbows off his back, but just got, pounded out on the ground. He doesn't have the wrestling or the takedown defense that Gaethje has. And Gaethje brings that and the violence to the table. He's going to be throwing bombs. If he gets taken down, he's going to scramble for dear life. I don't think he's just going to lay over and, get smothered.
I don't think so either, man. That's what's so exciting about this fight because Gaethje can fight standing up, standing down. He throws punches. Oh man, I just don't. It's going to be exciting to see. I'm not happy that it's at 1 o'clock in the. So guys, if you're watching, you got to tune in at like 10 a.m. for the prelims, and the main card starts at 1 o'clock. I'm not excited about that. you know,
1
I'd rather
p.m.
watch.
Central, and then everything else. Yeah, 1 p.m. Central, so 1 p.m. our time. Main
How,
card starts. Yeah, I mean it's tough, but I understand that Khabib is the main event and he's the man right now, and they're doing that for the Russian fans, so it'll be at a
uh,
convenient time for them.
I figured it had something to do with that. I mean, I don't dislike Khabib. He is a badass. But I mean, how do you think that fight's going to go? You think Gaethje's going to pull it off?
Honestly, I think Gaethje's gonna rock him in the first and finish him by the second for sure.
Oh
I mean,
wow!
it could go definitely it can definitely go either way, and Khabib could maul him the whole time and make him look stupid. But I think Gaethje's that dude, and he's gonna shock the world.
So you think Gaethje finishes Khabib in round two?
Yep.
Whoa, that's a huge statement right there.
Yeah, if it's gonna happen, it's got to happen early
Right, because he's not
before
going
he
to get
gets
strong
smothered. Yeah.
before. You know, if Gaethje can defend that takedown, stay on his feet, he's going to outstrike Khabib. Um, and then if Khabib gets Gaethje on the ground, I don't think Gaethje stays on the ground.
I think he's
Not in
scrambled.
round one, round two, because that guy can scramble. So man, super exciting, and it seems like there's mutual respect between both fighters. They're shaking hands at the weigh-in. I was watching this morning, and so man, I'm pulling for Gaethje. Let's see how we're gonna know a lot after round one. We're gonna know a lot after round one,
Yeah,
right?
you'll see it in their faces and their demeanor and
Hmm.
how they go forward. I mean, if Gaethje gets taken down 10 times in round one, that doesn't mean if he gets up, keeps getting up, those takedowns could slow down throughout the fight. So
Right.
it's a really interesting matchup.
So moving in the co-main event. I mean, where do you want to start? The co-main event, the pre. I mean,
Yeah,
there's
what's up with the co-man?
man, Robert Whitaker fighting Jared Cannonier. Uh, that is going to be a badass fight.
Pretty much, yeah. That they're basically if Cannonier wins, he could be fighting for the title next.
Um, you think Cannonier has the striking to match Robert Whitaker? Robert Whitaker looked really good his last fight. Um, he's only lost one. I don't know how many he's lost. How many has he lost? But I know he's lost 5 fights total in his career.
I think he's lost 2 in a row.
No, he won his last. Whitaker won his last fight.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure he did. He lost the belt. He came back and he won his last fight. And he's fighting Jared Cannonier, which is bomb city. I mean, that guy is got solid Muay Thai, and he's got one punch knockout power.
That's the way I see it. Is Whitaker gets hit and Cannonier throws bombs. So we've seen him get knocked out before. I think we're going to see it again. I think Cannonier is going to land one of those shots, and Whitaker's going down.
Yeah, I could see that happening. But man, Whitaker was the champion for a reason, and I was watching the hype video, the embedded, and they're showing some of Robert Whitaker's performances. Man, he was when he was at his prime. Not saying he's not at his prime now. That guy was He was a destroyer. I mean,
Well, remember, yeah, he was the champ, and then the day before weigh-ins or the day of weigh-ins, the day before the fight, he had emergency surgery on a hernia. So he had a bulging hernia, and he had to get it fixed overnight. So he had to cancel that fight, and then came back about 6 months later and fought Izzy. And he didn't look so hot in that fight. He looked like he was. I mean, imagine having a surgery and then
yeah.
recovering immediately, going right back into camp. That's got to be extremely tough on your mind and body. And he just didn't look confident. And I believe his last fight was against Darren Till, and they rocked each other, man. They knocked each other down left and right. And Yeah, he got dropped a couple times in that fight, and I just think Cannonier carries a different kind of power than Darren Till does, and I think that's gonna be it's gonna be tough for Whitaker to handle that heat.
So Whitaker beat Yoel Romero 2 times. He beat him in 2017, and then he beat Yoel Romero again in 2018. So that's when he was, he still had the belt. And then it's like you said, after he had his surgery, Adesanya was making his rise, and he had to fight Israel Adesanya after surgery, where he didn't, dude, you get cut open and operated on, your body is weakened, your condition is weakened, your mind is weakened, and to come back and fight a guy like Adesanya was brave, but not not a good move coming straight off that surgery and stuff like that. But he did come back in July 25th, and he beats Darren Till, which I thought it was a dangerous fight for him to come back after that loss to fight Darren Till, because Darren Till is a big 185er, and he's a dangerous dude. But Robert Whitaker handled him pretty well, I thought.
Yeah, I mean, look at the 85-pound division in the top 5. There's not many
Monster
fight, so I think Till is the safest out of those.
Yeah, for sure.
Because remember, Till was at 170, and then he went up to 185, and he kept his ranking. He went right into the top 5.
Yeah, well, how does that happen? How does he keep his ranking when you move up in weight, when you've never beat him 180?
It's got to be popularity. I don't know how you go up a weight class and still go into the top 5.
Yeah, keep your ranking. Yeah, because he was really big for 170. But anyways,
and then you just cut the line. You cut everybody else that's ranked in the top 10.
Yeah, you just skip the line.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go in there and kick some ass. I don't know. He's not gonna do. I don't feel like Teal's gonna do very well at 185 either, because he's gonna get in there with. He'll get in there with some guys who can drop some bombs like Cannonier, and he'll get knocked out.
Like Yoel, I think they're talking about making that fight, Till and Yoel.
So. Well, no, Yoel is 40 something years old too. I mean, he may
getting old.
He's getting older, man. I mean, you don't heal the same. I'm looking up Cannonier's record now, and Cannonier is just a bruiser. I mean, this dude is knocking people out. He fought Anderson Silva. He's the guy that knocked out Anderson Silva, right? But that's that's only the really big name he's fought.
Did he kick his leg? He leg kicked.
Yeah, because he's really good at Muay Thai. So Cannonier beat Jack Hermanson September 2019. So that's the last time he fought. Before that, he fought Anderson Silva May 11, 2019. TKO kick. It says TKO by kicks. He knocked out Jack Hermanson. David Branch, Dominic Reyes. He lost to Dominic Reyes by TKO. But was that at 205? Because Dominic Reyes is a 205 guy. Did Cannonier come down in weight? Is that what happened?
Likely. I don't know. He's been around for a while, so.
What's he lost to Jan Blachowicz.
Oh yeah, that's 205.
So Cannonier dropped weight to 185, so he's going to be a monster tomorrow morning. He's going to be huge, and he's got that one punch power. Yeah, he's fighting at 185, so it looks like he started at his career at 205 because he fought Glover Teixeira. He lost to Teixeira. So this is a good move for Cannonier. He's going to be someone to watch out for sure.
Yeah, if he wins this one, they'll be talking about main event title contention for sure. Who else is on this card? I saw Stefan Struve is back. He's fighting.
Is he?
Tuivasa.
Yeah, he's fighting Tuivasa, Alex Oliveira. So they're on the prelims. So Stefan Struve.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, they're the main event on the prelims.
Yes, that's right. And Stefan Struve, what is he? 7 foot tall. He's just a giant of a man. And Let's see how he does. Tuivasa, is another guy who has one punch power. It's just a big
He's a
old boy.
knockout artist, man. And Stefan Struve,
Doesn't have much of a chin.
he hasn't really learned how to use his footwork and his reach to the best. Like, if he could use it like some other guys could use their reach, like he'd be really dangerous. Knees, kicks, but he just always backs up with his chin up in the air, just waiting to get knocked off. And he's so long, he can get away with it in many occasions. But I think Tuivasa is just going to find his chin and put him out.
And he's a southpaw. Tuivasa is going to come in and fight differently than probably Struve. Struve does have the reach advantage. He's got an 84.5-inch reach.
Yeah, but yeah, he's hopefully he's worked on using it and being mobile, not letting his opponent get on the inside because that's been a big problem of his past.
He's got a
chin up in the air to get it out of the way. And it just takes one good shot, and we've seen him get knocked out.
Well, that's just that's bad coaching. Whoever coached him to let him get away with that in practice. You know what I mean?
I mean, you got to blame the fighter, man. The fighter.
Yeah, you got to blame the fighter, but it seems like the coaching would be like, "Hey, man, I don't care how tall you are.
Stop doing that. Stop doing that."
Exactly, right?
Do it again, and then
don't do that.
If he does it and gets knocked out, and it's like, all right, fuck off.
Well, I think Tuivasa is going to catch him with a overhand left.
Overhand. Wow.
Yeah, he'll dip right, throw that. I'm left-handed too, so I know all the southpaw tricks. So Tuivasa can throw that straight left, overhand left, and he may catch Struve. Struve has been out for a long time. We'll see what happens.
We will see.
Let's see. So we got Lauren Murphy fighting Lilia Shevchenko. I don't know who that is. Walt Harris fighting. Who's on the? Alex Oliveira's fighting Shavkat Rakhmonov. Sorry, man.
A lot of Russians.
A lot of Russians. So Alex Cowboy Oliveira. It's real popular. He's a good kickboxer.
Yeah, the tough dude. Cowboy.
Yeah, the Brazilian Cowboy. He's good. Sometimes he wins, sometimes he loses.
He always throws down. He's a banger.
He's a banger. Fun to watch. I don't care for his dancing too much, but let's see. So moving up, after the prelim main event, Lauren, a girl fight, Magam. I don't know these guys. Alexander Volkov is fighting Walt Harris. Man, that's a good fight.
Oh man, they're not giving Walt Harris any easy fights. But I mean, shit, I wouldn't expect them to.
No, Walt Harris is a
tough one, man.
Walt Harris is a big, dangerous man, but Alexander Volkov has got some hand. He's skilled, man. He's such a skilled kickboxer, and one of my most favorite fights from him is when he actually fought Derek the Black Beast Lewis.
Mm-hmm.
And it was kicking Derek Lewis's ass for 3 rounds until he wasn't.
Can't count at all.
I think Volkov is coming off a couple of losses in a row, though, isn't he?
Yeah, I believe so.
31-8. Man, that's a lot of fights.
No, he beat Greg Hardy recently.
Oh, he outpointed Greg Hardy. That's correct.
Greg Hardy looked really good in that fight, but he definitely Volkov won that fight. So
Walt Harris is definitely striking wise better than Greg Hardy. I'm pulling for Walt Harris. I mean, he's got this the story that comes along with it. And a lot of people know that story about his his daughter and stuff like that. So
yeah, I feel like a lot of people are pulling for him, but in a fight, you're locked in there with another man that wants to take you out. Doesn't matter what you've been through. You got to use that as fuel to make you a fucking beast.
Yeah, so I'm pulling for him. So that's going to be a good morning tomorrow during the day, man. So if you're at home, when you get up in the morning, turn on the UFC because it's going to be on 10 a.m. What'd you think about last week? UFC Abu Dhabi. A couple of girls fought. Caitlin Chikagian fought Jessica Andrade.
To be honest, I got to go back and watch it because I was out of town making this movie, so I was I didn't have any. Yeah,
So,
I did watch, EJ on LFA go out there and get his win. Miles Johns' little brother. Big
yep.
shout out to Miles. He'll be fighting on the 31st. Um, he's fighting on the prelims, and the main event will be Anderson Silva and
Uriah Hall.
Uriah Hall. I don't know how
Yeah.
his name left me. I see the guy every fucking day.
Yeah, you see him every day.
Um,
I'm looking forward to that fight too. But last week, Jessica Andrade is the one who took the belt from
Thug
Ro-
Rose, yeah.
Thug Rose, Thug Rose, Namajunas, fought Chikagian. She beat up Chikagian really quick with body shots, liver shot, finisher with body shots. I believe in round one, right at the end of the belt, right at 4:55 into round one.
Oh yeah, I saw those highlights. Yeah, she
Yeah,
beat the
she
tar out of her.
just powered through her.
Yeah.
What I was surprised by is Brian Ortega coming back to fight the Korean Zombie after such a long layoff. Brian Ortega's been off for what, 15 months, 16 months?
Mm-hmm.
I thought I had predicted I thought the Korean Zombie was going to beat Brian Ortega up just because of the ring rust. And the Korean Zombie's been looking hot. He's been winning some fights. But Brian Ortega comes in there and pieces up the Korean Zombie for 5 rounds. Dropped the Korean Zombie a few times. Just looked sharp. His boxing looked good. His takedown, everything looked good. So good job.
I watched the highlights. He looked really crisp, which was surprising, and so it was also surprising seeing that he had a tough weight cut. He had to shave his head to make weight, and then what I really, really resent is what he did in his explanation to why he shaved his head.
What do you mean?
He said he thought about all these kids with cancer and that he shaved his head because he was suffering and he knew that his suffering was momentarily and they were, continuing to suffer, and that's why he shaved his head. Get this right. He shaved his head to make weight. Then he donated his hair, which is great. That's great that he donated his hair to make a wig for some kid that's going through some stuff.
Right.
But to say, in all the interviews that's why he shaved his head is, I don't even have a word for it. It's just
right. It wasn't pre-planned to not make weight and pre-planned to shave his head.
He shaved his head because he was suffering and he was not on pace to make the weight. So he shaved his head because he had like 2 pounds of hair, at least a pound. But then, it would have been cool if he said, I had a tough weight cut and had to shave my hair. And then, then we decided,
right.
it would go great and then brought in the suffering conversation. But to make it appear that he shaved his head for the kids with cancer, it's just a low move in my opinion.
I got what you're saying. If he would have came out before the fight and said, "Hey, I'm going to shave my head," before the weigh-in, to donate it,
then great. But
right.
I know for a fact that it was not.
Right. He just didn't make weight, and he shaved his head, and he thought he'd
shave your head because you got extra weight on your head, and it's a lot easier to shave your head than. If you can't make weight, he looked depleted at the weigh-ins.
Yeah, he fought good though.
He fought well. He bounced back. He fought really well. I have nothing to say about his performance. He looked great in there.
Right.
Just on a personal note, that was a low move, in my opinion.
Yeah, he didn't make that decision. Hey man, let's change the subject. What do you think about this talk of Israel Adesanya wanting to fight Jon Jones?
I think he's out of his mind.
He's drinking his own Kool-Aid.
Yeah, and Jon Jones is way bigger.
Literally rip his arms off, just like Jon Jones said. I'll rip your arms off, literally.
Yeah,
I believe it.
But it's kind of like bullshit back and forth because all these guys that are already have that status, they got to hop on and steal somebody else's thunder when they win their big fight. Like McGregor always has something to say when there's a big fight. He always
Right.
wants to get that headline. And John Jones is taking a page out of McGregor's book. He's doing the same thing.
So did John Jones? Did John Jones start that conversation?
I believe so.
Or did Israel Adesanya?
This conversation's been going on for a year plus, 2 years.
Really?
Yeah. But yeah, I just see that every time somebody wins a main event. It's either John Jones or McGregor hopping in trying to steal their thunder.
Yeah, keep their name in the headlines and keep people thinking, what if that happens? Because I would love to see John Jones beat the hell out of Israel Adesanya.
I mean that's kind of a bully move. He's way bigger than the guy. Like that's a 20-pound difference just in the weight class. And Israel doesn't cut a lot of weight. John Jones is fucking 235 pounds on a regular basis.
At least. And how tall is John Jones? 6'3", 6'4"?
I mean, he towers over Israel. It's not even a fair matchup.
I like Israel Adesanya's fighting style, but I do not like his cage antics personally.
Cocky son of a bitch, huh?
Well, when he beat up Costa and then he starts humping him.
Yeah.
Dude, come on. Can you see a real champion like Muhammad Ali knock somebody out and go over there and start humping them? Or Mike Tyson.
But do you remember Muhammad Ali?
Oh, he didn't hump people after he won,
but he talked a lot of shit.
He talked a lot of shit, but
even after he went down.
Yeah, he did. I mean, he did, but
I think it's just a different day and age, man.
Were you hump dudes when you beat them up? I don't know.
Yeah,
I was like, that was a little weird. So what are you saying?
Would that be considered like sexual assault if you did that to somebody on the streets?
It would. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I can't walk up to somebody and hump them. Yeah, I'd be in jail and labeled for sure.
At least harassment. You know what I mean? Like,
or in Texas, you might get shot.
I mean, if it's not acceptable, then they should have done something about it. He should have been reprimanded.
Well, and not even that. Israel Adesanya goes out on Instagram and makes a meme and a video of it, just celebrating how he can dominate this man and sexually molest him. I was like, come on.
Unsportsmanlike conduct, at the very least. Fine him. At the very least.
Is that the champion that UFC wants to promote and advertise? Did Dana White call him and say, "Oh, good job on the humping video"? Or was Dana White?
It's all about money, man. That's what it comes down to. So I don't think they give a fuck. I mean, look at McGregor. How many times he's been in? Look at Mike Perry.
Look at John Jones
knocking out motherfucker old people at the bar,
and even John Jones.
We have
John
a code
Jones.
of conduct in our contract, and it says, I mean, I'm sure if I break the code of conduct, I'm gone. But there's some of these guys that they can just get away with anything, and therefore they run with it.
Yeah. Conor McGregor, John Jones, Israel Adesanya, those big name guys, they can get away with a lot of shit.
Yeah, but I wouldn't. I don't want to represent myself in that fashion, anyways. I want to be respected, and I feel like it's my duty to be that guy, be the one that's not the piece of shit.
Yeah, as a parent, you're a parent. I'm a parent. Do you want your son to look up to this champion who's humping guys in the cage?
Nah. Like, he's supposed to be a role model. So that's when I'm in the cage and I have all the eyes on me, that's what I'm trying to be, is somebody to look up to.
Yeah, and you've done well with that in your career. I was at my son's football game last night, and I was wearing my Fight Fit hat, and one of the dads, another dad that's on my son's football team, he goes, "Hey man, Ocho?"
Nice.
I was like, "Yeah, matter of fact," and I can't. You used to train him and his wife early in your career. Even when you won the LFA championship, he was him and his wife were one of your students.
Hmm.
And man, I was like, yeah, man, actually, and I told him about the show. He's like, yeah, I watched the show. No, 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 no. And he spoke so highly of you. It was really cool. Yeah, it was really cool. I'll remember his name and I'll let you know. Maybe we'll give him a shout out.
Yeah, that's dope, man. Yeah, like when I posted that stuff with me doing the film and one of the special forces guys that was working with me on the film, he was one of the lead marshals in the movie, and he posted something, and then somebody on there was like, "Is that Stephen Ocho Peterson?" And then he posted like a video of me. He's like, "Yes, that's him. Like that's fucking badass." So like it's cool to see one, people that remember me from back in the day, but two, like people I never even met recognize me.
Started from the bottom. Now you're here.
Just trying to do my thing, man.
Yeah, man, you're doing good. So super exciting. What else we got, man? What else we got?
Next fucking week, next Friday, Kansas City, LFA. My buddy Fernie is fighting on that card. I will be out there. So shout out to Kansas City, whoever's out there. Maybe swing by and say what's up. We can definitely link up while I'm out there.
Kansas City's a nice town. You know what town you're going to be in? You mean Kansas City, Kansas?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you're just going to fly up there. It's a short flight. It's like 2 hours or something like that.
Yeah, except for some reason we got a layover in Houston, so we're
going down and back up.
Yeah, it's so fucking stupid.
You got the cheap ticket. You cheaped out on the ticket.
Like I'd rather go. It's 5 a.m. or wait an extra fucking 2-4 hours or whatever and go in the evening. But for some reason they got us a flight with a layover in Houston. So.
Well, it's 45 minutes. It's 45-minute flight to Houston.
Yeah, and then I gotta wait for the next plane.
Oh God.
Whatever.
Not a fun. Yeah, whatever.
Just not a minor inconvenience.
Well, that's cool. Well,
get mad these days. I got my wallet stolen.
Yeah, you told me that.
Man, sucks.
Man.
Just
yeah, that does suck.
Man, it's just more work on the table, and I got plenty of work, but what's a little more? Yeah,
that's what it's about. Well, man, looking forward to wish Fernie good luck, and hopefully I'll get to tune into that fight tomorrow. It's tomorrow. Next week.
Yeah, next week on UFC Fight Pass next Friday.
Oh, that's awesome.
Check that out.
And then we got Uriah Hall coming up. What, next week?
On Saturday. So I'm flying back Saturday morning, and I'll stop by in Houston on the way back here, and then we'll watch my buddies fight on TV. It'll be super dope.
So how do you think this Uriah Hall Anderson Silva fight comes out?
Man, Anderson Silva admitted that this is his last fight. And I think he's realizing that, his speed and health is on the decline, and he's not going to, you want to be able, what is he, in his early 40s or something like that?
Dude, he's 45 years old.
Yeah, I mean, you want to be able to function after your fighting career, and like the sky's the limit. I mean, he's done movies. He can continue to do movies. He can fly across the world and do whatever the hell he wants. Like, don't keep fighting and jacking up your body when you're that old. Like, it's time to hang it up, man. And,
especially against a guy like Uriah Hall.
Uriah Hall is gonna wreck him, man. I train with this guy. You can't even blink. You blink around Uriah Hall and you're gonna wake up on the mat.
Hell yeah. He's a dangerous ass dude. I can remember when Uriah Hall came out of the Ultimate Fighter show, that matchup was being talked about then. What would happen if Uriah Hall fought Anderson Silva? That was in the talks, even back then when Uriah Hall first came out. Remember that?
Yeah, and then he had, some up and downs in his career, and he had some bad fights where he wasn't quite, himself. But
well, he also managed
he fought on a very high level most of his career.
I mean, he has fought the who's who in his career. He's never taken an easy fight. Everybody he has fought on his record is a total badass. You know what I mean?
and he's got some sick KOs in the UFC against high level
Mm-hmm.
dudes. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean and now it's his time to rise, and Anderson Silva's time to hang it up. So good thing he's
Yeah.
getting this big fight. I mean, he really earned this fight because he was supposed to fight Jacare Ray for like a fucking year, and then
Mm-hmm.
multiple occasions. I think the first time Jacare Ray had the COVID,
Uh-huh.
and the second time something happened. Somebody else got COVID or some shit. But
Yeah.
it was
That's just
yeah, one thing after another, and he hasn't fought in well over a year, but he's been training he's done multiple camps. So it was, his time that he got a good, big marquee fight.
yeah. It's a tough fight anyway. Anderson Silva is still Anderson Silva. I feel it goes to, Uriah Hall probably by a finish or unanimous decision, because at the age of 45, it is hard to beat a young stud, like Uriah Hall, who's 36 years old. He's going to have the power advantage, the speed advantage. Anderson Silva is still Anderson Silva, but he hadn't knocked out anybody in a long time. You
Yeah,
know what
and
I
he
mean?
fights with a lot of dead time. There's a lot of dead time in there of him just, trying to lull his opponent into a false sense of security and then exploding. And since he's
Yeah.
not so explosive anymore, then now that dead time is just dead time. I mean,
Yeah.
he's not able to explode and knock him out. And I don't think Uriah is going to fall into that pattern of getting hypnotized.
Right. And yeah, I think Uriah's going to beat him up pretty good, I think.
Blast him.
Yeah, I think so too. And I'm a fan. I'm a fan of who doesn't love Anderson Silva, man? I'm a huge fan of.
I'm a fan as well, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm a much bigger fan of my friends
Oh, absolutely.
and Uriah Hall. I was a fan of his before I was his friend. So
Yep.
and now that we're friends, I got his back all the way.
Yeah. When Uriah Hall came to the studio back in the day and we interviewed, I was a little bit starstruck, to be honest, man, because I never imagined in a million years, that I would meet like Uriah Hall or even some of the guys that we've met in the UFC. I've been a little
Jeff
starstruck
Neal,
sometimes. Do
fucking
what?
watching these guys come up. Jeff Neal,
Yeah.
top 10 in the UFC. It's like
Well, Jeff Neal, at least, we run into Jeff Neal around the block, because he was around town. But Uriah Hall was,
he was a superstar. Yeah,
he was a superstar already and already been around the world.
for a long
Mm-hmm.
time. Yeah,
And yeah, and he's pretty cool too. Pretty cool cat.
no doubt.
So, man, it was good chopping it up this weekend. This Friday.
It's always good chopping up Joe Show. I'm glad I got the time to sit down with you. Sorry I've been absent, but I'll try to get in when I fit in, and when I'm not,
Yeah.
I know you guys will hold it down.
Yep.
So, yeah, thanks for tuning in. This is Fight Fit Lifestyle Radio, and we'll see y'all next week.